proposed. There's no legal mechanism for restitution.
Вот. Ну и, собственно, да, я сказал, что это вот есть такой закон, проблема является законом реституции, но, как говорит Михаил, проблема, собственно, в том, что в строгом смысле закона нету, да, нету какой-то законодательной рамки, которая бы определяла развитие, проведение процесса реституции, соответственно, она происходит в очень таком хаотическом и жестоком виде.
I think probably that's enough because we've been talking for 2 hours. Что? Ну, может, если есть какой-то вопросы или что-то такое?
Yeah, a lot of questions.
Okay,
Михаил предлагает, что, да, поскольку мы уже говорим 2 часа, то как бы можно было бы закончить, но можно просто перейти к вопросам, и, судя по всему, вопросов было достаточно.
Maybe it's just organizational, maybe some people need a break like 2 minutes, but not like 20 minutes, like 2. And then to make questions.
Да, давайте сделаем перерыв,
Нет, хорошо,
вопросы, просто если 2 вопроса, зачем это делать?
Давайте поднимите руку, у кого есть вопросы, мы увидим, нужно ли нам сделать перерыв. 3 вопроса.
Мне кажется, это может прилиться просто в долгую дискуссию и в интересной. Давайте сделаем перерыв для тех, кто хотел.
Может, без перерыва?
Без перерыва?
Нет, как можем сделать голосование?
Проголосуй снова.
Демократия.
Кто хочет перерыв, поднимите руки.
Вот, нет.
Все, перерыва не будет. Задавайте вопросы. Да, где вопросы?
So how do you personally feel about balance of culture and science in Warsaw? How do you feel?
Вопрос, да, как относится к творцу самому?
Should I speak in Russian?
I don't know, it's up to
Но мне очень нравится, конечно, Дворец культуры. Я весь жизнь знаю это здание, потому что я родился в Варшаве, но когда у меня было 6 лет, я выехал и живу в Великобритании от этого времени. И я приезжал в Варшаву и гулял по этому городу со свою семью, которая еще жила в Варшаве, и всегда мы шли в этот дворец, и всегда я думал, что это очень интересное здание, которое я хотел бы понять. И тоже не только я, но много варшавяне тоже сейчас, большинство людей в Варшаве очень любит, почти обсессивно любит этот дворец. И тоже есть какая-то обсессия, фиксация на этом дворце. У некоторых людей в Варшаве есть очень тоже крепкое негативное отношение к Палацу культуры, к Дворцу культуры, у маленьких пропорций. Но большинство людей, да, есть обсессия.
Спасибо. Вы еще говорили, что почти у каждого варшавяка есть план, как или скрасить влияние этого здания на город посредством небоскребов каких-то, или наоборот подчеркнуть его. Есть ли у вас какое-то видение в этом плане или план?
У меня есть какая-то. Но и я думаю, что потому что в Польше есть, как в многих странах, сейчас кризис с жильем. И жилье, особенно в Варшаве, очень дорогое для большинства людей. И не строится много социальных жилий. Государство не строит социальных жилий. И я думаю, что должен построить наоколо палаца, наоколо дворца социальные жилья для людей с низкими ценами просто, а не какой там элит, культур-центр или что такое.
Но не выше дворца, да?
Что?
Не выше дворца, да?
Еще один дворец.
Не выше.
Who cares? Doesn't matter.
Это очень важно, мне кажется.
Но я думаю, в моей визе нет. Но я тоже, для меня это было очень интересно, если они бы разрушили Дворец культуры, потому что потом мог бы получить очень большой грант, чтобы другую книгу об этом написать.
Спасибо.
Michal, first of all, I want to thank you very much for the lecture because I'm deeply inspired with it and maybe even encouraged with it. And it's more than inspiration, it's encouraging me. I've made some like mental notices with no paper but notices during the lecture. And maybe it will be some questions or not questions but also notices. The first was about the electrical nature of spirit of revolution. It was one poet, I suppose in Serbia, who wrote a poem in 1915, I suppose, before, very close, but the revolution, but before it, which says about social changes and revolution totally in that electric metaphors. And I think it could be interesting for you, and I'll find it, because a friend of mine, regisseur, was made performance based on it. So somewhere I have that text, and because it gives more that electric metaphor and understanding how they feel it in early 20th century, because it shows how they have that mental connection between idea of electricity and the idea of social change, and the fluentness of that communist fluentness of things and all this stuff. Do you need translation?
No.
No, okay. The second was more question. What do you think about realization of? I suppose that Center for Contemporary Art Garage in Moscow, built by Kolkhoz, is not like ideal, but quite clear representation of how he look at how he can interpret that social condenser. And what do you think about it? We're exploring that question.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to the new garage, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's fantastic, and I certainly respect Kolkhoz as an architect, and his fascination with modernist forms and his understanding of the formal language of modernism is extremely sophisticated. And I think also his understanding of the ideology is extremely sophisticated, and which makes his ironic depoliticization of it even more cynical, effectively. So I think Garage is a one. I mean, I love Garage. I like to go there. I think it's very nice, but it's a very elite space. It's not somewhere where people in Moscow feel comfortable.
Because for me, when I was living in Moscow, Garage was a kind of not inclusive but exclusive, but social condenser, like a specific type which is not. It's like broken social condenser, because it is not inclusive, but it works, because for me it was working like social condenser. And another one idea, maybe third note, was that it will be very interesting to compare two social condensers working like social condensers, not like social condensers, but with that, which are still operating in Moscow at the moment, to compare that Garage, which is very exclusive one, especially built like that, but and DK ZIL, Dvorets Kultury ZIL, which is still owned by government of Moscow, which is still social, with a lot of free functions, and it's also makes that complex functions, that interlinkage between different functions, and I suppose it still serves the purpose of social condenser. And maybe it will be very interesting to compare them, and I don't know, maybe kind of short workshop about it in Moscow.
Yeah, I think ZIL is a very good example of something that actually still functions, and also has been renovated recently in a quite sensitive way. I mean, actually, Owen Haddad has got an interesting section on this in his book Landscapes of Communism, where he compares the Mielnikov, the old garage, which was in a Mielnikov bus garage, which was beautiful and done in the most sensitive constructivist way, blah blah blah, to the Azerbaijani restaurant in the Rusakov club in Moscow. And the Azerbaijani restaurant was not decorated it was completely indifferent and ignorant of the constructivist aesthetic, but it was a cheap Azerbaijani restaurant for Muscovites. So actually it worked. It's an example of the fact that that function is more important than form. You can combine the two, but function ultimately for the social condenser is more important than form, which is of course what the functionalists were saying all along. And function is connected to politics and to ideology. That's the whole point of function. Function isn't just about function, it's about what that function is for. And it's also interesting now, so we've been having discussions with Alexei Ginsburg, who's the grandson of Moise Ginsburg. And he's an architect, and he's carrying out a beautiful restoration. Well, he's already done Barkhin's, he's also the grandson of
Barkhin's
Barkhin.
son, yeah.
He's also the grandson of Barkhin and the grandson of Ginsburg.
Yeah.
So he's already renovated the Barkhin's, God, what's the building called? A building of Barkhin's in Moscow.
Yeah.
And he's now beginning a renovation of Narkomfin, and it's it's done in a wonderful way, but it's probably going to be luxury flats. And we did an interview with that. I mean, he's a very nice guy, but we were arguing with him, Jane and I, about whether or not Ginsburg was really interested in the function, or whether the function is more important and the form is more important. And Lyosha